Okay, so it seems like Jalen Hurts revealed a massive change coming to the Eagles offense during OTAs, as Kellen Moore has come in as the new offensive coordinator and has seemed to try and fix a lot of the problems from last year. So what is this big change to the offense, and how much will it benefit Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense as a whole? Also, Nolan Smith has bulked up and is willing to do whatever it takes to contribute to the defense. Speaking of which, Nolan and fellow Georgia Bulldog Jordan Davis are excited about new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio and his coaching style, while rookie Cooper DeJean apparently ran with the first team during an OTA practice. So let's talk about all that and all the other latest Eagles news, and we won't waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so let's start off with one player who hasn't been at either of the Eagles open OTA practices, and that's DeVonta Smith, as after the star wide receiver got paid a big extension this offseason, it seems that at least during these couple OTA practices, he's just taken some much deserved time, probably with his family, and just resting up. But if you know anything about Smitty, you know he's a very, very hard worker, so there really should be no worries about him not being at these practices, so no need to make a big deal out of that. But now, interestingly enough, DeVonta Smith actually did go on WIP on Thursday during the Birds OTA practice, where he absolutely praised the Eagles organization, as he said, quote, "I feel like I'm in one of the top tier organizations. Howie, Mr. Lurie, they take care of us. Anytime you're in the building, you feel like you're with family. The relationships I've built in this city, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else." And obviously, I mean, you just love to hear that, because not only is it just something else that reinforces that Smitty loves this team and this city, but it's also been a common theme among players that have played in Philly to say similar things. So it's just great knowing that the Eagles are a world-class organization that treats its players well and is a very attractive destination. And going back to what Smitty said about relationships, I mean, that's obviously a huge part of what makes the Eagles organization so special, as from top to bottom, under leadership from Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and Nick Sirianni, everybody's preaching connection on the team and in the locker room, and I really feel like you can see that connection on display this offseason between all the different behind-the-scenes videos that we've seen, including the most recent one from the Eagles' annual playground build.
My favorite recess game growing up was just the two-touch, sometimes turned into tackle football.
Sharks and minnows.
Probably tetherball.
Ultimate football. Everyone called it different, but we used to call it ultimate football.
Probably duck, duck, goose.
Terrible answer. When's the last time you played duck, duck, goose?
You could have said tag.
Tag. Like, you have so many different things that you could have said. You said duck, duck, goose.
I didn't specify what age.
Yes, you did.
To be fair.
Could have been in kindergarten.
Goose is like kindergarten.
I think that's what I was thinking.
But like I had recess, we had recess.
Line all you guys up and see who the best one is at duck, duck, goose.
See, look, now you're thinking. Now I got you thinking.
So I feel like there, again, it's just cool to see the relationships on display, specifically in this one between head coach Nick Sirianni and wide receiver Parris Campbell. Plus, this video was just pretty hilarious too, so I kind of just wanted to show it. But seriously, whether it's this or the competition videos that we've seen among other things, I just love the chemistry it seems like this team has at this current moment. And getting back to that relationship between Nick Sirianni and Parris Campbell, we got something else on that the other day when Parris Campbell spoke to the media during OTAs, where he spoke about his relationship with Sirianni being a key factor in him coming to Philly, while also saying that Nick has not changed at all since being the offensive coordinator in Indy to now being the head coach in Philly.
I think the familiarity with Nick, obviously, him being the OC in Indy when they drafted me, having a familiar face always helps. I was taught as a young age, never burn bridges. You never know what door might open later in life. And, that was kind of that opportunity for me. Him having known me knowing him.
Is there anything different about him that you've noticed?
No, I get asked that question a lot. And that's the one thing I can say about Nick. Like, he's the same person from the first day I met him to now. No matter what his job title is, like, he's the exact same person every single day. And you got to respect that, especially, when a guy moves up in the ranks, for sure.
Look, I know a lot of the Eagles fan base is maybe a little skeptical or even angry at Nick Sirianni at this point, but it has to mean something that many players at this point have come to his defense or praised him like Campbell just did here, and that speaks to the connections and relationships that Nick has been able to build with his players, and there's really no denying that that's a very, very positive thing for a head coach to have, so you at least got to give him some credit for that. And regardless of how you feel about what happened last year, the fact of the matter is that Nick Sirianni is the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024, and I'm going to give him his fair chance, but what do you guys think? Now, moving on, we circle back to OTAs and look at a surprising standout from the second open practice, and that is undrafted rookie cornerback Shon, as after he signed with the Birds after an impressive rookie minicamp, Stevens, who led the nation in interceptions over the past 2 seasons in college with 8 in each year, had an interception during OTAs as he picked off Eagles' third-string quarterback Tanner McKee while running with the third-team defense. Now, Stevens was thought to be a very interesting storyline to watch and a possible hidden gem found by Howie Roseman ever since the Eagles brought him on board, and this interception only helps Stevens' case as he's going to fight to make the roster during training camp this year. But now moving on to another Eagles rookie during OTAs, we switch our focus to the second-round pick Cooper DeJean, as the versatile defensive back has apparently looked good so far in OTAs, with his versatility obviously being a very exciting aspect of what he's able to offer this team. And while he's mainly run with the second-team defense at nickel corner so far, he's seemingly taking advantage of his opportunity, getting a huge pass breakup down the sideline in Thursday's OTA practice, as I talked about in my last video, which was definitely cool to hear about. But while again, pretty much all of DeJean's opportunities so far have come with the second-team defense, he actually apparently got a chance to run with the first team for a very, very short time. As in an article written by Jeff Kerr, he mentioned that DeJean actually took a rep with the first team at slot cornerback. So that's definitely very exciting to see, and I'm sure we'll hear more about him running with the first team as the offseason goes by, but I really just didn't expect that to happen this early on. Now, keep in mind, the Eagles had some absences, and their starter at slot corner on Thursday was Tyler Hall, so that could have played a role into it, but still, I just thought it was exciting that DeJean got that opportunity in OTAs, even if it was very brief. And now, moving on to the Eagles' other rookie cornerback in Quinyon Mitchell, he has also impressed in OTAs early on, mainly in the first media open practice, and expectations are obviously very, very high for the first-round pick out of Toledo whenever he does get his opportunity to go out and play during the season. And something very interesting that I actually recently stumbled upon is that a Hall of Fame cornerback in Ronde Barber seems to be confident in Mitchell's ability to translate to the NFL and play at a high level, as he said this about Quinyon during the pre-draft process.
Number one, Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo, 6 foot, 195. He could easily be the best player of the bunch. He's a really good football player. Play speed is outstanding. He looks like a bull in China shop sometimes when he's playing. He acts like a pro. He is the most similar cornerback in this year's draft to last year's number 1 corner pick in Devin Witherspoon. If I'm taking a cornerback first, it's definitely Quinyon Mitchell.
So I definitely think that this statement holds some weight, because it's obviously coming from a Hall of Famer that played the same position as Quinyon, and it gets me even more fired up to see how he eventually looks when he gets out on the field for the Birds. But now, going from somebody praising an Eagles player, we switch to someone baselessly hating on another one, as ESPN's Chris Canty, who played defensive lineman for the Cowboys and Giants both for 4 years each during his NFL career, was on First Take recently, where he made the argument that Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback.
I don't have Jalen Hurts as a top 10 quarterback. You know he was hurt last year.
Yeah, that's great. That's all good. All well and good. I don't have Jalen Hurts as a top 10 quarterback.
Okay, give
me here's my list, Molly. I got Patrick Mahomes, which understood ain't got to be said.
Fair.
Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert.
Wait. So, okay, yeah, C.J.
Stroud. Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, and Brock Purdy. Of the list of quarterbacks I just gave you, there's only one quarterback on that top 10 list that has lower odds to win MVP in 2024, and that guy is Trevor Lawrence. That's it. Everybody else has better odds than Jalen Hurts.
I'm honestly genuinely curious where this argument even comes from. Like, Jalen Hurts has done so much to prove himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the league today, including putting up some great stats, winning a ton of football games. I mean, at one point being 27-2 during a 29-game regular season stretch, and also leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl and having one of the best performances by a quarterback in Super Bowl history, while also being second in MVP voting in 2022, and he honestly probably would have won the award if he didn't get hurt that year, and then he was also first in MVP odds until the Eagles collapsed this past season. But just because of a rough stretch to end the 2023 year, largely due to poor schemes and coaching, we're just going to sit here and act like Jalen Hurts has something to prove. And meanwhile, guys who haven't accomplished as much as Hurts during their careers, like Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, and freaking Trevor Lawrence, are better than him. I mean, it's just insane. I personally think Jalen belongs somewhere around 5 to 7, maybe 8 on that list, but what do you guys think? But now, staying with Jalen, we go back to OTAs, where he may have helped reveal a massive change coming to the Eagles offense. As Jeff Kerr highlighted something about Jalen Hurts' play during practice that was very, very interesting, as he wrote, quote, "Hurts is targeting the middle of the field significantly more in these open practices. The Eagles were dead last in pass attempts in the middle of the field at 37.1%, and Hurts was second to last at 37.6% of the quarterbacks that had 100-plus attempts. Kenny Pickett was last." So obviously, the increase in throws in the middle of the field is a huge change, and one that we were literally screaming for last year. I mean, the Eagles' offense was essentially all curl and flat routes, plus some go routes and streaks as well, and pretty much nothing was over the middle of the field, which is why at the end of the season, teams just started blitzing the Eagles an insane amount, and they had no answer for it because there were no short hot routes over the middle or anything. So just based on this report, it seems like Kellen Moore has come in here as the new offensive coordinator and completely changed this aspect of the offense, and I love it because you know it'll only help the players and the overall offense. I mean, Jalen was going to have answers against the blitz, and guys like A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert will be able to roam in open space over the middle of the field. So this whole thing is super exciting in my opinion, but what do you guys think? Now, moving on though, and switching over to the defensive side of the ball, something else interesting that came out of OTAs is the fact that edge rusher Nolan Smith was being dropped into coverage at times, and there apparently was one time he even covered A.J. Brown, and apparently again, he covered him well as he was not targeted on that play. And while I'm not necessarily a fan of the Eagles dropping their edge rushers into coverage frequently, I'm at least happy to hear that Nolan did a good job on this one play, and really, you know that Nolan is going to do whatever he can and whatever he's asked to do to help this team win, and that's something he echoed in his press conference on Thursday.
Hey, whatever I come in on Monday and whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do it to my best ability. One, because I love football, and two, because I love the Eagles and Philadelphia. Do anything for this city. If it's playing off the ball back, I'll do it. If it's playing on the ball back, I'll do it. So it really don't matter to me. Football is football at the end of the day. You got to go fly around and hit somebody dead in their shit, no matter if you on the ball or off the ball.
So I definitely love that mentality from Nolan, and I also love the actions he's taken to prepare himself to do whatever they ask him to do and to take on a bigger role this year, as he said that he's put on a bit of weight this offseason as he looks to get stronger and become a better NFL level edge rusher.
I'm coming in this year 245. I was about 238 last year. I was on the heavier side, but I'm gonna come in a little more bulky, and it wasn't because of people thinking, no, I just want to get there, just personally, and me and Coach Wash talked about it, and he feel comfortable with that, and he said, as long as I keep my speed, we good.
So I think that's a great thing. I mean, many of us probably could agree that it would be beneficial for Nolan to add more size, so sounds like he's done that, and now let's just hope that he gets more opportunities to play, and he's put in good positions to succeed by Vic Fangio. And speaking of Fangio, it seems like his old school coaching style is something that is being appreciated by the players, as both Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis said that they love Fangio's no BS old school style.
How is he different personally than the other guys you've had?
No, and I hope y'all can bleep that out. But it's really no BS with him. It's straight ball. Some people like it for better or for worse. I play with all types of coaches from high school, college. I mean, Kirby Smart's the worst of the worst, so not the worst of the worst, but he's old school. You get what it's expected on. It's a job to do. You gotta do your job. If you don't do it, then it's a miss.
Talk about his old school mentality.
I love it. I come from coaches like that. A lot of people say the Bama family tree. No, it's the Georgia family tree now. So from the Georgia family tree, those tough coaches that want you to push a little bit extra, give me a little bit more, and I expect more from you. That's what I want you to expect more from me, and that's what Coach Wash pushed me to that point. Like, Coach Wash expects a lot from me, and I expect a lot from myself, and Coach Wash pushed me day in and day out that it ain't no problem to work for Coach Vic.
So this is fantastic because, for one, it shows that our guys are actually willing to be challenged and coached hard instead of being soft and just not able to handle things. But also, I just think it's safe to say that the Eagles defense is in much better hands with Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator. And that's just like the offense is in much better hands with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. So it's just exciting to have two good coordinators running things, and I cannot wait to see the new schemes in action this year. Now, I'm going to be continuing to cover the Eagles year-round, including mandatory minicamp coming up this week, so if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like to show some support if you did enjoy this video, and also leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another video going in-depth on the Eagles' second open OTA practice, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.